videotape the class, but I didn't videotape the class with it. So I was disappointed in some of the kinds of questions that I saw on the quiz that were gotten wrong. If you remember early in the year, I said to you guys that the most important thing you can learn this year is not how to do math. It's what your strengths are as students, what your weaknesses are as students, and how to go about learning. That's really the key. When I was in college, there was this kid named Billy Regine. And Billy was, to me, one of the most remarkable people I'd ever met. I knew a lot of really hard workers in high school that were remarkable too, but Billy was very special because he was studying to become a doctor. There were people who were studying to become doctors that cheated their way through college, and honestly, I could outthink them any time of the day, any place. I would never want to go to a doctor like that. But Billy Regine was different. Billy Regine had such structure in his life. He used to wake up every morning at about 5 o'clock, give or take, and he was an athlete too. So he would get up, he would make his breakfast, he would stretch, and then he would go for a run. Then he would come back and he would work out. And when he went for a run, he went for like a 5-mile run. Then he would come back and he would work out. And then he would hop in the shower and he would drive to the campus. We lived off campus together. He would drive to the campus, and from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he treated that as his job. Now, college is very different than high school. When you're in high school or in middle school, you guys go to class and they tell you what classes you're going to take, and you are either always in a class or you're in lunch. In college, it's not like that. You make your own schedule in college. And they have, you basically take 5 classes a week. Now, of those 5 classes, each of them meets for 3 hours. That's why they call it 15 credits. Credits is short for credit hours. And what it means is that you're going to sit in class for a total of 15 hours a week. So let's say you have a class at 8 o'clock in the morning, a class at 12 in the afternoon, and another class at 3 in the afternoon. In between all those classes, you have nothing to do. And some classes are at night. So on those days, what you would do, or what Billy would do, is when he was supposed to be in class, he went to class. When he wasn't supposed to be in class, he went to the library. And he treated it as a job. He studied in the library, got all of his work done, got all of his homework done, got everything done that could possibly be done. And he always took 1 hour off during the day for lunch. Now, I get worried that as I talk to you guys, I don't think you understand how to go about correcting your weaknesses as a student. If you didn't do well on yesterday's quiz, what you should have done before you ever started last night's homework was crack out the quiz and say to yourself, where did I go wrong? Try to do it again. See if you get it right. See if you understand each step. And if you don't, then you go watch the videotape. That's why I take the time to put the videotapes up there. That's why I'm going to take the time to make this new videotape for you guys to be able to go over the quiz tonight if you need to do that. Then, after that, you do your homework. And then you look back at the quiz again before you come in. If you do that on a consistent basis, if when you do your homework, you look at the ones the night before that gave you difficulty and you try to understand them better, come to extra help to straighten those things out. If you do that on a consistent basis, you will be identifying the things you struggle with, then correcting them as best you can each and every single time. That will cause improvement, and you will become a better student. The problem with a lot of kids is they take a quiz on Monday, they get something wrong, and they don't look at it again until Tuesday. So now you look at the quiz, and you're like, oh, man, what did I do yesterday? Oh, man. And they can't remember. And a lot of times when they can't remember, they then begin to panic. And all they're thinking about is that they can't remember. They're not thinking about how to do the questions at all. So you really need to become a better student. I promise you, if you were a softball player and all you thought to yourself was, man, that pitcher's really, really good. I can't hit that pitcher. Guess what? You're not hitting that pitcher. If you're a wrestler and you go out to wrestle a match and you look at the guy on the other team and you go, oh, boy. I'm dead. Guess what?
Dead.
You're dead. It's as simple as that. So much of it has to do with perspective. If you look at a quiz and you start thinking about what you don't know how to do, you're dead. The time to think about what you don't know how to do is that time before you start your homework, the time after you're done with your homework. And that's the kind of student Billy Regine was. Billy was very, very serious about that. And he taught me how to treat my education as a job, as a responsibility. And I matured greatly as a student because of Billy Regine. So hopefully you understand how to go about your business to the best of your way. Okay, so number one, I expected every kid in the class to get number one right. And it didn't work out that way. Not that we did terribly on it. We didn't. Most kids got it right. Probably 3/4 or 80% of you got it right. But some of you got it wrong, and that shouldn't happen. What's the word domain mean?
Input.
Set of all inputs. What's range mean? Outputs. So I'm going to plug in each of these things into the function, which is right here. And I think that this is a little bit different than yesterday. See, that's the problem. You know what? Yesterday, I had these two quizzes reversed. Yesterday was the A quiz. So that was the B there. No. Is this today's quiz? No. All right, so I did that B. Let's try this one. Is this today's?
No.
Okay. And let's try this one. How's that?
Yep.
There we go. Okay. So, now let's go through this again. All right, so I'm going to substitute or plug in each of the values in the range here into the function. So what is 2 times -3? -6. Plus 5? -1. So that's my first answer. Now I'm going to plug in a -2. What's 2 times -2? -4. What's -4 plus 5? 1. I'm going to plug in a -1. What's 2 times -1? -2 plus 5? 3. That's a 1 there. And my favorite, 2 times 0? 0. Plus 5? 2 times 1?
2.
Plus 5?
7.
And you can see the pattern, -1, 1, 3, 5, 7. What's next?
9.
9. And that is my range. Okay? So that's the first thing that should happen. If when you get done writing out your range, there's not a pattern, there's a problem. It's either a pattern or a problem. It's as simple as that. Now, I looked at some people's quizzes. I can think of one in particular that went something like this. -1, 5, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now, everything else had a pattern to it except this one right here. And obviously the person ended up getting the whole question wrong just because they missed one of them. If you just take a peek at your answer and say, hey, does this make sense? I think it'll let you know if you're right or wrong. All right, so next, the graph. Let's go to 100% so I can fit it all in. Actually, let's go to 125. All right, so there's a couple of concepts that it's pretty obvious to me you're a little fuzzy on. Let's go through this step by step. It's really, I don't think it's very complicated. Let's see, what do you think? All right, so you're going to begin at the point -5, -6. Oh, look, you know, for some reason the dark lines are not printing on this, but they are printing on my paper. All right, so -5, -6 is here. 2, 4, 5, 6, and that's my -5, -6 point. Now, it says here I start at that point, which I did. Beginning at -5, this is a bracket, so that means I have to have a solid circle. This is a parenthesis, so when I stop, I have to have an open circle. That when I look at your graphs, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for solid open, solid open, solid open, making sure you get that right. Now, this does not mean go to the point -5, -1. This is the point stuff. This, as soon as you see a bracket, this is telling you the interval for the values of x. So you're going to go, you're going to use a slope or a rate of change of 1 up until I hit when x is -1. Now x is -1 right about here. So it's up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Now here x is 3. Up 1 over 1, here x is 2. Here x is -1. And I had to remember to make an open circle because of the parenthesis right there. Okay? Now, that is for the red part of the graph. Now I'm going to do a blue section. This is going to be for this. It says starting at the point -1, 0. So -1, 0 is right here. And if you notice, this is a staple so this needs to be solid. Many of you, way too many of you, especially given the emphasis that we gave to this yesterday, drew a line from here to here. I said to you yesterday that this is a jump. This is a new thing in graphing introduced this year that you never had before. And some of you feel compelled to connect these points. No. The example I gave to you yesterday was, think of going to a parking garage. For the first hour, it might cost you, for anything above 0, so 0 doesn't count, but anything above 0 might cost you, say, $2 until you hit an hour. But anything past an hour, not equal to the hour, but past the hour, is $4. And then past the hour is $6, and so on and so forth. So there are jumps in this, and there are natural ways in the world that you jump values. There is no connection here. You go from $2 to $4. And it's an open circle because you got to go at least a second past in the next hour to have to pay that money in that time. Okay. Now, this parenthesis means I'm going to go up until 1, but it's going to be an open circle again. And this time, the slope is 0. So I go up to 1, but it has to be an open circle. So there's my graph drawn from -1 to 1. And again, I want to remind you, if this is important to you, if success is important, if a really good grade on tomorrow's quiz is important, if you go home and you look at this and you try to work it and you're not getting it, what should you do?
Watch us.
Yeah, go to the website and watch this again, even twice if you have to, until you're like, oh yeah, I get this. Okay, education on demand, guys. Now, starting where I left off, the rate of change is 2/3. Now, check this out. Is this 1 over here, is this in a staple or is it in a parenthesis?
Stable.
Staple, so this is kind of weird. Now I fill in the circle. Not because of part B, but I fill in the circle because of part C. That's the part that tells me to fill it in. Now, the rate of change is 2/3, and I'm only going to go until I get to where x is 4, and this staple here, bracket, says solid circle. So it's up 2 over 3. There's my solid circle. And at this point, notice, this is not part of the graph, it's not a line. My x value there is 4. So I stop because it says get to 4. Now we get another jump. It says open circle, parenthesis, starting at 4, 5. So I got to go up to 5. 2, 4, 5. There's my open circle. Okay? Rate of change is, this says -3/2. So I'm going to go down 3 over 2. Now this is kind of weird because at what x value are you supposed to stop here? 7, right? If you look, this point, the x value is 6. 2, 4, 6. So I have to keep going down, and that'll bring me all the way to here for 7. So here is my graph. And that is the totality of my graph. Yes?
For the green line going down, you wouldn't go down 3. You'd have to have both of them.
I did go down 3 over 2, because it's -3/2.
And you went down 2.
Here? Down 3 over 2. Oh, because I'm stopping at 7.
So you'd have to.
I actually think I end up stopping in the middle here more than on the 0. I think I'm actually
Oh,
in the
you
middle
have
of the
to
line.
have both of them.
Yeah, you got to go to 0. You got to stop at 7 because it says right there to 7.
No, but you wouldn't go down 3. You'd
No, because that takes me past 7. See, look, if I go down all 3, I end up over here. If I end up over here, I'm past 7. So I just go to the point where I hit 7. So if I'm down 3 over 2, if I only want to go over one place, I got to go down half of 3, which is 1.5. Okay? Any questions? Now look, this is about you learning how to be a really good student. Can I ask you a question? How many of you guys think college is in your future? Okay. You need to learn how to become a really good student. If you struggled with this quiz, it is a good thing. The reason it is a good thing is you don't want to only do stuff that comes easy to you. Yes, I know you get a higher grade and I know it looks good, but you never really learn how to improve. So you go home tonight, you work this, you watch the video if necessary, you go back over this quiz, you dedicate some effort to something that's not coming easy to you. And then, tomorrow, you come in, you kick butt, you do a great job on the test. All right, any questions? All right. Now, let me stop the